like Elon Musk, and they make a big deal out of him taking a puff off a pot cigarette, but who cares? At the end of the day, it's something that God put on the earth, right? So it's a natural substance. How bad can it be? It's like tobacco. That's how I defend tobacco. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it is evil. Maybe Satan did make it. Maybe he's the one that's responsible for thorns on roses and poisonous plants, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe he's the one that, made the ground produce thistles and made, a man have to earn his bread by the sweat of his brow. It's as a result of the original sin. So in a sense, it really, all the bad things, the organic bad things in this world do come from Satan. And it's his minions, human minions, that are making those artificial things. The worst stuff that we have to face, the artificial human suffering that's invented. That's what I'm talking about. Freedom, man. We got to get out from under the thumb of these evildoers that are human type evildoers whose fruits are stink to high heaven, man. I mean, end the traffic on the freeways, man. End so many of the suicides and broken homes that had to do with financial reasons. And oh my God, the abortions and the orphans out there and the wars, the dubious wars, the homicides. And all this stuff, man. Yeah, people have to be set free financially, man. Yeah, you better believe it, man. You better believe it. God, I wish I wasn't the only one just making that so clear. No ifs, ands, or buts, man. No equivocation. We have to work that direction, man. Universal, absolute freedom. It has everything to do with universal, absolute prosperity. Absolutely, yes. And it has to do with thus saith the Lord. It has nothing to do with social, political, or economic opinions, philosophies, credos, belief systems, or otherwise. Stuff I've already touched on, I'm not going to read, so that's why I'm sitting here reading some of my notes I took about the recent events. But yeah, I'm sorry if I'm too hard on anybody, I offend anybody. But let's remember that old cliche: you catch more flies with honey than vinegar, and it's not even true, right? A lot of those sayings aren't true. Like familiarity breeds contempt. I mean, why would anybody even make friends if we get too familiar? Why have a close friend? It's so stupid. So there's a lot of those cliches that don't make sense. You have to question them, like you can't have your cake or eat it too, right? Well, who's baking the cake? Can't we just eat the cake and bake another one, or have two ready so we eat one, we got an extra? Yes, we could. So it's like, this is stuff they try to feed us. Well, you people, it's like, it goes back to what, who was that, the woman, the Queen of France at one time, Marie Antoinette, right? The let them eat cake statement, right? But this whole idea that you catch more flies with honey than vinegar, that's not even true. I mean, it would be apropos if it was, you catch more flies with dog crap than you do with perfume, yeah, or something, right? So that would be contrary to the saying, to the essence of what's trying to be conveyed with a saying like you catch more flies with honey than vinegar. But the point is clear: it's by being polite and respectful, cool, calm, and collected. And remember, look, you're going to be hated. So that's unpleasant. Gird your loins and prepare yourself to be hated unjustly just for exposing evil. And just presuppose that somebody is ignorant or oblivious that they're evil. They don't know. Even though you're sure in your mind, you're absolutely sure that they're doing it deliberately, they're intentionally evil, they know exactly what they're doing. Even if you feel 100% positive, leave just a smidgen of room for doubt, a fraction of 1%, to take to God and say, God, help me to just understand that if these people were in their right mind, they wouldn't be evil. They don't know where they're going from here. They have not read Dante's Inferno. They haven't had a vision of hell, what it'll be like for all these evil people to be stuck together with nobody to push around, which is how they are who they are. They've got to push people around. They're bullies. So they're going to be miserable. So by conveying that to people, you're being as effective as you possibly can be. And you're loving your enemy. You're showing them respect. You're being empathetic, compassionate, merciful, polite, respectful. Do you understand? Diplomatic in your speech, really trying your godly best to reach people and to affect change in their hearts and in their minds and in their spirits. So that's the best advice I've got for Alex Jones or anybody else out there, even like myself. I'm preaching to the choir, but I've got the same issue. Yeah, and people, anybody listening to me, they already kind of get what I'm saying. Oh, this Bob Woodward guy. I'm just saying. Now this is gonna seem a little trite, probably, and a little cutting, deriding, perhaps. But this Bob Woodward, think about his mouth, dude. Put clown makeup on Bob Woodward's mouth. He's a That would be. I mean, a professional clown would kill to have Bob Woodward's mouth. Just think about it. Just imagine Bob Woodward. Look at his face, and imagine that face with the clown face. That mouth is huge. It's aberrant. It's like, where in the hell did that thing come from? I've never seen a mouth that big, but it'd be absolutely perfect for a clown's mouth. I'm just saying. Steve Pachenik was on Alex Jones. I agree with about 70% of what he says, but sometimes, the way he talks about JFK, calling him a psychopath, I wonder if he was involved in anything to do with that assassination. I do. I wonder these things because he always seems like he's trying to justify, well, he was a danger to the country because he was a psychopath. I don't know. He's one of these, spy versus spy guys I like to think of as a white hat, and for the most part I do. But, if he's just trying to cleanse his conscience because he knows something that he feels he either can't talk about or is involved in, I don't know. I'm just putting that possibility out there. But, I don't hear him talking much about scripture, or I don't hear him talking about the, Federal Reserve and all these people that say, oh, it's local, grassroots level, you deal with stuff. And I say, no, 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 no. The problems at your local community at the grassroots level, they're coming from on high, the Federal Reserve policies. That's what's impoverishing people in your local community. They're the ones that are creating the homelessness. You notice the mainstream media, they never talk about that $50 billion that goes into a year that goes into preventing homelessness for the poor that can't afford housing for themselves. You don't ever see them talking about that. You never see the local politicians talking about that. What the hell's going on here? And they never point out that the problem keeps getting worse because of this huge welfare subsidy of your taxpayer money going into the prevent homelessness. They're just acting like, well, we don't know what's going on here. Why are they all these poor people? And, why is it society's problem? What are you, a socialist? You think we should end homelessness? What's your problem, man? I mean, they're weak. They need to comply. They need to conform. They need to get strong and lift themselves up by their bootstraps and go out there and be a renter and be a rent slave like everybody else because there's no more Section 8 housing, apparently, by all the homelessness we've had for decades in America. I mean, practically as soon as they started giving that $50 billion a year subsidy, we started seeing homelessness explode. I mean, what the hell is wrong with us? You hear the mainstream media trying to educate you in that direction? No, because they're being steered by the Bilderbergers who want to kill these people. They want them, instead of marching them off to a death camp, what they can't get away with in America, they say, well, this is a way to do it. They're going to lose their will to live. They're going to turn into drug addicts and die, and all this is borne itself out. This is all true. Suicides will go up, and people will die. They'll break their resistance down, sleeping out in the cold and the heat, and they'll die early, prematurely. We don't have to give them any Social Security or benefits. We'll save money for society and more for our trillionaire class. You understand how sick, and this is sick, man. We're in so freaking much trouble, and yet people are going to still play ignorant like there's time left to play stupid about these things I'm trying to educate you and empower you about and pull you out of Babylon, pull you out of confusion. For God's sake, people, time's up, man. You better get it, man. It's a tiny minority that's manipulating the masses, and we, the masses, need to unite for God's sake, for our sake, and confront these a-holes, man. But yeah, no, it's the Federal Reserve. They're screwing it up everywhere. It's not. You're not going to do nothing at local level. I'm not going down there to dispute about how bad it is that we have the homeless crapping on the sidewalks of the businesses. I get that. I would hate that too. I've cleaned it up as a landscaper. I've seen those situations. Down in Santa Cruz, I worked at a church down there. And that was happening down there, and I was tasked with having to clean it up, and it was a real pain. And it's the grossest thing in the world. It's actually a hazard you should probably call hazmat. That human feces is filthy. The filthiest thing. So I get what the business interests are saying. I don't, so I'm on both people's side. I'm on the homeless side who say, well, we need a place to crap in the middle of the night to do our business. So I'm going to get into a yelling match when I see the devils in the details, and these problems are stemming from on high. They're rooted from on high in the Federal Reserve banksters and the Politico class that goes along with these people and validates their program that can't possibly work. They know it's a Ponzi scheme. They know they're just kicking the can down the road. They know they're just pushing the envelope as far as they can. They know they're just passing the buck. Everybody's doing that. The only answer in society is keep debasing your currency through raising your cost of living tax. Everybody just says, as long as I survive, I don't care. I can't worry about nobody else. It's just about me. If I'm in a union, then I'm fine. If I'm in the government, I get cost of living adjustments that are commensurate with the cost of living increase. I'm fine. So everybody's just washing their hands and divorcing themselves from what's good, the damage that's being wrought, the death and destruction that's being wrought upon us right under our noses. God, I have the fear of God in my soul. God is the potter. Do you understand? He can destroy the pottery. We're compared to the pottery. And rightfully so. Just start fresh. All of us, even the righteous, just screw it, man. I can't deal with it. I'm going to just destroy all of it. That's it, man. One big sunburst, okay, from the cosmos that I create, and I'm going to scorch it all and start fresh. If he wanted to do that, he'd be wholly justified in doing that. At this point, I am just beside myself with the stupidity in our land. Okay, and the disempowerment and just the compliance of people just saying it's okay, just one way or another. We're just going to keep, beating our head against the wall and keep trying this program, even though it doesn't work, of just keep increasing your cost of living tax. And we'll talk about giving pay adjustments to make it up and higher pay for the workers and all this. We've had decades and decades. It's been going in reverse. Suddenly that's going to work. So, it's just maddening to me. It's just maddening. There's all these fixes to our problems, but we're not taking them, for God's sake. And we're not even, people aren't even discussing them. I feel like a lone voice out in the wilderness that's being succinct about these things and pointing out how simple it is, how stupid that we're accepting this. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible. And we should all have the fear, great deep fear and reverence of God in our soul and say, God, help me, man, to have right thinking. It's so hard when the waters are so muddied and bloodied by these evil people that have been creating the policies that we've been living under, cramming it down our throats from birth. Our First Amendment rights are sacrosanct. No matter what somebody says, and we're going to offend somebody and vice versa. Somebody's going to offend us. But it doesn't mean that we should, let people, if they're racist or idiots, let them make fools out of themselves and we'll have their number. But if you repress it, it's going to come out. It's like a pimple. You can't just, put something over it. That thing's going to burst through and it's going to get uglier and uglier and bigger the more you repress it. So repressing free speech is like repressing a pimple. No, you got to get it out, man. Get it out of your system. Fast for a day. Do whatever, don't eat for periods of time. Eat some healthy, clean food for a while. Oh, recently Trump, somebody in the White House, some economic expert dude, everybody saw him, and he was just rebuking Obama's claims. And he's right. I've never seen this guy before. But, he did not try to educate people. You see this guy try to educate anybody about economics, about the Federal Reserve and the debt and how essential it is to pay it off? Did he talk about cost of living, tax inflation, or currency debasement? He didn't talk about any of that. He didn't really. So who is this guy? Harvard educated? Thinks he's so damn smart because he knows how the system works, the established system of economic, the crony capitalism works? Just slanders the name of capitalism every which way from Sunday. It's horrible, man. This guy didn't do much to educate people. Just try to say, oh, no, it's all Trump, But but didn't explain why becoming a middle class homeowner has become but a pipe dream in California. Do you hear him talking about that? No, none of that. No. So I got no regard for these people. They say food costs are in decline. Sounds good to me. That's good. That means your food dollars are going up in worth. The opposite of currency debasement is taking part, taking place in regard to food. That's a good thing. I'm all for it. Who wouldn't be? You'd be out of your nut not to be. Oh, they're talking